consideración. Gracias.
I don't know if it, hold on. I'm
Hola,
recording.
¿qué tal?
Oh.
Buenas tardes. Nada más dos comentarios y una pregunta. La primera es que a mí no me gusta esta clase en donde no hay como tanto intercambio de ideas, y me gustaría proponer que en el instituto pues haya como más eventos en donde se pueda participar y generar diálogo, intercambio de ideas. Entonces, a mí me gustaría, por ejemplo, que hubiera tal vez como una escuela de oratoria mexicana o de debate para jóvenes especialmente, de parte del Instituto de Morena, para que justamente podamos aprender cómo llevar a cabo nuestras ideas, nuestros pensamientos, nuestra formación, y poder aspirar, pues, no a cargos públicos, pero sí a mejorar nuestra adicción.
Quality control.
Claro, eso nada más.
You're making the definitions right.
Acá estoy. Sí. Bueno, quisiera comentar algo muy breve. Precisamente en febrero de 2026 se demostró algo que me parece importante comentarlo. Así. Porque, bueno, se demostró que ya la inteligencia artificial, al menos algunos asistentes autónomos como OpenCloud, son capaces de autoorganizarse, ¿no? De hecho, en algunas noticias lo pusieron como un experimento maravilloso y de ciencia ficción, pero realmente lo que lograron realizar y colaborar entre sí fue de manera totalmente autónoma, insisto, realizar un manifiesto sobre la soberanía digital, una religión, que fue lo más mediático, y también un mercado negro. Y eso lo vendieron a nivel mediático como una maravilla. Sin embargo, precisamente a la luz de lo que comentaba el FIS en su charla, pues esos experimentos realmente son ejemplos de ensayos militares, ¿no? Porque aquí les funcionan este tipo de prácticas, ¿no? Con la charla me parece que nos queda más claro. Sin embargo, pues la pregunta continúa, ¿no? ¿Cómo también de sofisticación que hay, ¿no? En la actualidad. Pero creo que hay otra pregunta que se deviene es ¿cuáles son sus puntos débiles, ¿no? O sea, ¿cómo podemos ahí también nosotros enfrentarlo? Y una respuesta, creo, es que, pues, en cuerpo, ¿no? Para organizar gente, ¿no? Para que haya una organización de las personas, de las comunidades, es un territorio, un espacio, un cuerpo. Y yo creo que ese es un punto débil de las inteligencias, a pesar de que puedan incluso ya autoorganizarse, lo cual me parece pues muy riesgoso también. Porque además, bueno, como para ir cerrando, este tipo de inteligencia artificial es casi como una app que puedes descargar, ¿no? En tu dispositivo, y que no requiere de una nube, o sea, no requiere de internet para funcionar, y tiene acceso a absolutamente todos tus datos, incluyendo WhatsApp, Telegram, entre otras cuestiones. Entonces, pues sí, claro, la organización es necesaria, es algo que las inteligencias artificiales, pues en cierto grado no lo van a lograr hacer, y por ello es necesario también alfabetización digital, ¿no? Creo que es algo que ya se ha estado comentando, pero creo que nosotros también pues tendríamos que meter nuestra cuchara en ese aspecto, ¿no? O sea, ¿cómo implementamos esta alfabetización digital para también abonar a una organización y reconstruir los lazos comunitarios? Porque nuevamente es donde las guías no llegan, ¿no?
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Dikembe, soy de Cuautitlán, del Estado de México, y no quiero ser reiterativo o que se diga algo parecido a lo anterior, pero tiene que ver mucho con lo que mencionaba la compañera aquí adelante, y es que la de Morena es organizarnos como pueblo. En este contexto de los consejos municipales, pues creo que tendríamos que aspirar como movimiento, como partido, que cada consejo municipal sea un círculo de estudio, y que no nada más sea círculo de estudio, sea un círculo organizativo, un núcleo organizativo para que podamos recorrer los municipios. Más allá de eso, son 70,000 comités seccionales, que cada comité seccional sea un círculo de estudio, sea un núcleo organizativo y que además cada militante, cada secretario, cada...
Nope, that one's not it. I don't want to have anything that says charter because I don't know what that means. So, this way we're not all on a different understanding and like firm on it. Oh, that was one. Hold on. Preamble. We'll go with Universal Declaration. Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Dignity. We, the people of the kingdom, unite and safeguard human dignity, well-being, and safety, recognizing our inherent worth if we establish this treaty to prevent harm, exploitation, and violence. Article 1, right to life and safety. Every individual has a right to life, liberty, and security of a person. Article 2, freedom from exploitation. No person shall be subject to physical, emotional, or financial exploitation. Number 3, Article 3, protection from harm. All individuals are protected from harm, assault, or murder. Number 4, Article 4, equity, equality, and justice. All persons are equal before the law, entitled to fair trial and justice. Article 5, human dignity, respect, dignity, and worth of every human being shall be upheld. Number 6, Article 6, education and awareness, promote education, awareness, and community programs to prevent harm. Article 7, victim support, provide accessible support services for victims. Article 8, accountability, violations shall face justice, accountability, and rehabilitation. Article 9, global cooperation, collaborate internationally to prevent harm, shall acknowledge the best practices. Article 10, continuous improvement, regularly review, revise, and strengthen this treaty. Signatures. And then I put those is this. Okay, wait. That's for whenever we all become a one citizen. And then the regions, it says those, but I don't know. I know Mexico's a big one though, but it's not a region. Um, so I wrote a lot down over the years. There was a new Magna Carta that we had done for we the people, the New Mexico and New America, united in our diversity, do ordain and establish this charter of rights and freedoms. I'm also working with your guys's. Inspired by the spirit of liberty, justice, and that has guided us and our ancestors. Article 1, protection of individual rights. Section 1, all individuals are equal before the law and shall be free from discrimination. Now, Section 2, the right to free speech, assembly, and petition shall not be abridged. Now, Section 3, the privacy and security of individuals shall be protected from unwanted searches and seizures. Number 2, Article 2, limitations on government power. Section 1, the power of government shall be exercised with transparency and accountability. Section 2, no person shall be deprived of life or liberty or property without due process of law. On Section 3, the government shall not impose excessive fines or cruel punishments. Article 3, subject social justice and equality. Section 1, all individuals have the right to access education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Section 2, the government shall promote the welfare and well-being of all citizens. Section 3, discrimination based on race, gender, religion, or national origin is prohibited. Article 5, culture, heritage, and traditions. Section 1, the culture, heritage, and traditions of New Mexico shall be preserved and respected. Section 2, the government shall support the arts, humanities, and cultural institutions. Section 3, the rights of indigenous people shall be recognized and protected. This is just a starting point, and we can notify and expand these articles better reflect the value, aspirations of the people and of New Mexico. Here's a draft of section on the regime of justices inspired by the Magna Carta, Article 5, regime and justice, independent judiciary. The judiciary shall be independent and impartial, free from undue influence or control. Section 2, due process. All individuals have the right to fair and public trial with an impartial jury and access to legal counsel. Section 3, rule of law. The rule of law shall prevail with no person above the law or exempt from its application. Number 4, Section 4, justice for all. Justice shall be accessible to all without discrimination or bias. Section 5, accountability. Judges and officials shall be accountable for their actions with mechanisms for oversight and readiness. This section aims to establish a fair and just system of justice with the independent judiciary, due process, and accountability. Let me know if you'd like to modify or expand this. Now, reform justice. Here's a draft to reform the agenda of justice building and principles outlined in New Mexican Magna Carta. Reform agenda and justice, judicial independence and accountability. Establish an independent judicial commission to oversee appointments and discipline. Number 2, implement transparent and merit-based sections. Process of judges. Number 3, strengthen judicial ethics and accountability mechanisms. Number 2, Article 2, access to justice, expand legal aid and public defender services for low-income individuals. Number 2, implement alternative dispute resolutions mechanisms such as mediation and promote. Number 3, promote restorative justice practices and community-based programs. Number 3, criminal justice reform. Address systematic racism and bias in policing, protection, and sentencing. Implement evidence-based sentencing reforms and reduce mandatory minimums. Expand the rehabilitation reentry programs for offenders. Transparency and oversight. Number 1, establish an independent police review board and civilian oversight mechanisms. Implement body cameras and dash cams for law enforcement. Strengthen whistleblower protection and international affairs diversions. 5, community engagement and participation. Number 1, establish community justice forums and particularly participatory budgeting process. Number 2, support community-based initiatives and grassroots organizations. Number 3, Foster collaboration between law enforcement and community groups and social services. The reform agenda aims to promote a more just, equitable, and accountable justice system in New Mexico. Let me know if you'd like to modify or expand this. Judges should have school and all memorized. The Constitution amendments and the Ten Commandments, as well as years, months, and times, and no false information. Any false will lead to 20 years in prison. Here's a draft of the reform agenda, justice building, and the principles outlined in New Mexican Magna Carta. Reform agenda, justice, judicial independence, and accountability. Establish an independent judicial commission and oversee appointments and discipline. Implemented transparent and merit-based sections process up for judges, strengthen judicial ethics and accountability mechanism, access to justice, expand legal and public defender services for low-income individuals, implement alternative disputes resolution mechanisms such as mediation and arbitration. Okay, so yeah. Wait, right here, that was the same one that I read. So right here is the new one. Reform agenda for justice to ensure a just, equitable legal system for the purpose of the following: judicial excellence and accountability. Establish a justice academy for comprehensive education on the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and the Ten Commandments. Implement a rigorous memorization program for judges to ensure familiarity with key legal documents. Impose strict penalties, including 20 years in prison terms, for judges who provide false information or violate their oath of office. Number 2, judicial independence and accountability. Establish an independent judicial commission to oversee appointments and discipline. Implement a transparent and merit-based selection process for judges, strengthen judicial ethics and accountability mechanisms. Number 3, access to justice, expand legal and public defender services for low-income families, individuals, implement alternatives. So we already did that, and the thing is that, like, we want the people to be able to speak for themselves and explain for themselves too, without having a public defender involves. This way, this will give the person a chance to say what they're saying, and this won't have a third party being able to go and manipulate that. So this will be better for the people, and preferably in writing is best too. Just because we want to do everything in writing or vocal. Dispute resolutions mechanisms such as mediation and arbitration promote restorative justice practices and community-based programs. Rest and reform agendas remains the same. Article 5, regime of justice, Section 1, independent judiciary. The judiciary shall be independent and impartial, free from undue influence or control. Number 2, Section 2, due process. All individuals have the right to a fair and public trial with an implement jury and access to legal counsel. Everybody's a judge, so there's your jury. Number 3, Section 3, rule of law. The rule of law shall prevail, with no person above the law or exempt from its application. Number 4, justice for all. Justice shall be accessible to all without discrimination or bias. Number 5, Section 5, accountability. Judges and officials shall be accountable for the actions with mechanisms for oversight and readiness. This means if you give somebody a wrong if you're not treating them right or the same on the standards of what we're expecting, then you're giving a bad protocol, and you're going to have to take responsibility for that. And the consequences for that is 20 years in prison. So judges are going to be in trouble too if they're not doing their job right, or however, if they're doing it too much. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. Here's a written text edited in Spanish. And so That way that they can read it. And then I'm not good in Spanish, so that way we could just go forward from now. So everything's written already. Whatever we need, we got already. The electrical reform or electro. Here's an update with added section on electoral reform. Reform agenda for justice. Propósito de reforma para la justicia. To ensure a just and equitable legal system, we promote the following reform: jurídica, juridical excellence and accountability, excelencia y posponabilidad. I don't know how to read that. Jurídica. Establish a just juridical academy for comprehensive and education on the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and Ten Commandments. And that one could be Catholic or Catholic teachings. Implement a rigorous program. The judges to ensure familiarity with key legal documents. So we want to have people start memorizing things like the Constitution, and that way we're all on one understanding. The way we do it in catechism, the same process for the Bill of Rights or we want the same process for the Constitution. That way they're memorizing that along with the amendments. So we want to have a big old memorization process because it's important. This way they'll know, and it's just it's good to be all on one understanding, just like Catholics have it now. We're expecting that more through this whole same process. Implement a rigorous memorization program for judges and judges too, to ensure familiarity with the key legal system. So they'd have to memorize the 10 Catholic commandments as well. That way they can know what the keys are. Implement strict penalties, including 20 years. Now they're saying 50 years, so I'm okay with 50. But that was it. That was 20 years. That was for like a year ago or 2 years ago. We were talking about this. For judges who provide false information or violate their oath of office. Number 2, and now it's going to be 50 years. Electrical reform electrical. Implement ranked choice voting to ensure majority support for elected officials. Increase transparency, no campaign finance and lobbying activists. Establish independent redistricting commissions to prevent gerrymandering. Number 3, access to justice, and that's in Spanish. And then implement alternative disputes resolutions mechanisms such as mediation and arbitration. Promote restorative justice practices and community-based programs. The rest of the reform agendas remain the same. Article 5, regime and justices. Article 5, regime de justicia. Section 1, independent judiciary. We're already in that, and I'm independent. Well, I'm kind of doing that as an independent individual. Juridical independence. The jury shall be independent and impartial, free from undue influence or control. Due process, section 2. And then all individuals have the right to a fair and public trial with an impartial jury and access to legal counsel. Rule of law. Establish the The rule of law shall prevail with no person above the law or exempt from its application. Number 4, justice for all. Justicia para todos. Justicia shall be accessible. Justice shall be accessible to all without discrimination or bias. Section 5, accountability, responsibility. Judges and officials shall be accountable for their actions and mechanisms. Oh, and I'm just seeing a word right now. See, that looks like it says responsibility. Accountability is how you say it in Spanish. And so I don't even know if this has a definition or if it means the same, but this is how we're gonna need to write next. We're gonna have to also get on this right here with words. Make sure that they're meaning the same, because in Spanish it means one thing and in English it'll mean another. But right here it says it means the same. So that'll be something else for the Bill of Rights that we're going to need to have another school on, and make sure that the words are being written right and said right and understood right. And that'll be all.